Good evening, children.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, children. Good evening. Please go through this information regarding polynomials. I'll just give you some time to read this. And later I would be asking you questions. I've shared my screen, children. I'm sure it's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Please go through the contents. Later I'll unshare my screen and I'll be asking you questions based on whatever you had seen on the screen. Let's do one thing. You read case 1 alone. I'll unshare my screen and ask you questions based on that. Then you can read case 2. I think that will be better. Just go through case 1 alone, children. Yes, children. Ready? Are we ready, children? All right. First question. How does the graph of a linear polynomial in two variables x and y look like? Graph of a linear. How does the graph of a linear polynomial in two variables x and y look like? Yes.
Straight line, ma'am.
Straight line. Yes. So a linear polynomial in two variables x and y. The graph of this will be a straight line. What is the shape of the graph of a quadratic polynomial in one variable x? What is the shape of the graph? Yeah, what is the shape of the graph of a polynomial, of a quadratic polynomial in one variable x or that one variable y, p, whatever? So the shape is called a parabola. The shape is called a parabola. Now we know that a quadratic polynomial, has at most 2 zeros. That means the quadratic polynomial may not have any zeros. That is, there may not be any value of x which can satisfy the polynomial. Or the polynomial may have only 1 zero or a maximum of 2 zeros. So depending on the number of zeros the polynomial has, the parabola assumes a certain position. So now case 1 is when the polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c can be factorized into 2 linear factors. That is, it has 2 zeros. We know a quadratic polynomial in one variable. A quadratic polynomial in one variable x has a maximum of 2 zeros, which means it can have no zeros, 1 zero or 2 zeros. So case 1, what you just saw, is a case where the polynomial has 2 zeros. That is, the polynomial can be expressed as a product of 2 distinct factors. Now, what did you observe? How does the parabola look like when the polynomial has 2 factors? You have to explain. You saw something. My question is, we are talking about the case where the polynomial has 2 zeros. The quadratic polynomial has 2 zeros. How do you explain the parabola of a quadratic polynomial with 2 zeros? Yes, children? All right. So when we say parabola, it either opens upwards or it opens downwards. It does not open to the left or right. That's one thing. The parabola either opens upwards or downwards. Do we get that? It opens upwards or downwards. That is, the mouth is open at the top or below. The mouth of the parabola is open upwards. The parabola is open upwards, meaning the mouth of the parabola is open upwards or downwards. It doesn't open to the left or right. It doesn't behave like that in the case of a quadratic polynomial. I'll tell you when. Oh, you have read that. Okay, so you know when the mouth of the parabola opens upwards and when the mouth of the parabola opens downwards. That will be the next question. But how do you explain the graph? It's a parabola. It will open upwards or downwards. But more specific, what is that very important thing in the graph when the polynomial has 2 zeros? Am I audible, children? Is my question clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Yes. Yeah. Please tell me. What is that distinct thing?
Ma'am, when a is less than 0, the parabola opens upwards.
No, darling. No, I don't want that less than 0, more than 0. See, when we say quadratic polynomial, you will say parabola. Correct. When we say quadratic polynomial, you will say the parabola opens upwards or downwards, but not to the left or right. Correct. And then you will give me tell me when it will open upwards with respect to a, the value of a. You will tell me when it opens upwards and downwards. That's also correct. But my question is not that. My question is, what is that extra thing? What is that other thing which can be observed when the polynomial has 2 zeros? You all know it. It's just that if I ask you how many zeros, you will answer. But now see, you all know it.
The points on x-axis of the parabola represents the 0, ma'am.
No, yeah, something related to that. So correct, close, I mean, the parabola will intersect the x-axis at two distinct points. Yes or no, children? When it has two factors, the parabola will intersect the x-axis at two distinct points. Yes or no? Am I answering the question which I asked you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is what is. It's a parabola. It opens upwards. It opens downwards. All that is fine. But when the polynomial, when the quadratic polynomial has two distinct factors, we notice that the parabola intersects the x-axis at two distinct points. When a quadratic polynomial, see, the quadratic polynomial can have no zeros, 1 0, 2 zeros. When it has two zeros, we see that the parabola intersects the x-axis at two distinct points. Okay, next question. When does the parabola open upwards? When the value of a is? We have this standard form, right? Ax squared plus bx plus c. The standard form of a quadratic polynomial in one variable x. Ax squared plus bx plus c. A is the coefficient of x squared. Now the value of a in the polynomial determines if the parabola will open upwards or downwards. Even before you make the graph. Well, we don't have this graph making, but just to understand, whether the parabola, even before you make the graph, whether the parabola will have its mouth open upwards or downwards depends on the value of a. Depends on the value of a in the polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c. When the value of a is less than 0, it opens downwards. And when the value of a is greater than 0, are we all listening? When the value of a is less than 0, downwards, greater than 0, upwards. It's easy to remember, less than 0, no? So less, so down. Less is like down. Greater than 0, up, upwards. It's more than 0, so that is it's going up like, upwards. Less than 0, it's less than 0, so downwards. What are the coordinates? Okay, I think that you need to have a look once again. Make a note of that in your book, children. It might be helpful. So now answer the question. Answer the questions again. What is that distinct thing about a parabola of a quadratic polynomial which has two zeros? If a quadratic polynomial has two zeros, then the parabola will intersect
At x-axis.
Intersect the x-axis at
Two distinct points.
Two distinct points. It will intersect the x-axis at two distinct points. Okay, I'm not quite satisfied, so let me just show you the slide again. So see here, when the polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c is factorizable into two distinct linear factors. Two distinct, meaning different linear factors. Of course, it's a quadratic polynomial, so it will have two. If it has two factors, it will be linear, right? Like x plus 5, x minus 3. When the polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c is factorizable into two distinct, meaning different linear factors, yes, they will be, the factors will be linear. Only then when you multiply them, it will be a quadratic polynomial. Okay, so that's the first case. So see here the graph of, so in this case, where the polynomial can be broken down into two different linear factors. Like we say two different zeros. Then the graph of ax squared plus bx plus c cuts the x-axis at two distinct points. So you can see here, it cuts the x-axis at two distinct points. It cuts the x-axis at two distinct points. Don't see where it meets the y-axis. We are not bothered. It meets the y-axis here. We are not bothered about that. We are only concerned about where the parabola intersects the x-axis. We are only concerned about where the parabola intersects the x-axis. So see here, the parabola, it opens upwards. In figure 1, it opens upwards, which means in the polynomial, the value of a is greater than 0. Who's a? The coefficient of x squared. Who is a? The coefficient of x squared. So when the coefficient of x squared, see, we know that a cannot be 0, children. We know that a cannot be 0 because if a is 0, then it ceases to be a quadratic polynomial. A cannot be 0. We consider only a greater than 0 and less than 0, not a equal to 0, because we know that the value of a cannot be equal to 0. Then it will become 0x squared. Then it's not a quadratic polynomial at all. So a cannot be 0. That's the most important condition. So a is either positive or negative. Positive meaning a greater than 0. Negative meaning a less than 0. Children, am I fast? Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
A equal to 0, not possible. So a greater than 0 or a less than 0. A greater than 0 meaning a is positive. The value of a is positive. A less than 0 meaning the value of a is negative. So when it's like 4x squared plus something, 4x squared. 4x squared, the value of a is 4. It's greater than 0. Then the parabola, when you make the graph of this polynomial, the parabola will open upwards. But supposing it's minus 4x squared something. Minus 4x squared. Minus 4x squared. So the value of a is minus 4. It's less than 0. It's negative. Then the parabola will open downwards. And if the polynomial has two factors, then the parabola will intersect the x-axis at two distinct points, like you see here in figure 1 and figure 2. It opens upwards, intersects the x-axis at two distinct points, opens downwards, intersects the x-axis at two distinct points. And this lowest point here is called the, see, this is the lowest point. Can you see my cursor, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the lowest point of the parabola. This is called the highest point of the parabola. This is called the lowest point of the parabola. This is the highest point of the parabola. In this graph, this is the lowest point of the parabola. In this graph, this is the highest point of the parabola. And whether it is the lowest or the highest point, they are called the vertex. This one is the lowest point here is called the vertex of the parabola. The highest point here is called the vertex of the parabola. The lowest point here is called the vertex of the parabola. The highest point here is called the vertex of the parabola, given by these coordinates, minus b by 2a, minus d by 4a. And in the chapter quadratic equations, we have seen that d is called the discriminant, which is given by b square minus 4ac. Just make a note of this, children. These are the coordinates of the vertex of the parabola, minus b by 2a. B and a, you know the values of a, and you can get the values of a and b from the polynomial. D is given by b square minus 4ac. So when you substitute that value of d here, minus b by 2a and minus d by 4a. will be the coordinates of the vertex. The vertex can be the lowest point of the parabola or the highest point of the parabola. Is this much fine, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please, the next set of questions I want all of us to answer. This is case 2 where the polynomial is factorizable into 2 equal factors. Like we say only 1 0, no? 1 0 meaning 2 equal factors, 2 equal zeros. Like the two linear factors may be x minus 3 into x minus 3. X plus 1, x plus 1. When the polynomial is factorizable into 2 equal factors, both same factors, linear only. It will be linear only because it's a quadratic polynomial, right? So it will be a product of 2 linear factors. So this is the second case. When the polynomial is factorizable into 2 linear equal factors. Please read the points below that. Figure 2 and figure 3, children. Figure 4 and 5 and 6 for, sorry, figure 3 and figure 4. Refer figure 3 and 4 for case 2. Figure 3 and figure 4 for case 2. Is someone sharing my screen? Yes, children, I told you, you shouldn't have got confused. I said refer figure 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So now what did you observe? What is that distinct thing which you noticed about the parabola when it has, when the polynomial has only 1 0, that is 2 equal factors. What did you notice in the parabola?
Meets the x-axis 1.1.
Yeah, it touches the x-axis at only 1 point. It touches the x-axis only at 1 point. See, it's a parabola. It's a quadratic polynomial. So the graph will be a parabola. The parabola can open upwards or downwards depending on the value of a. When you all know what a is. So ax squared plus bx plus c. The coefficient of x squared is a. If a is positive, upwards. If a is negative, downwards. No left and right. Now, when the polynomial has 2 equal factors, 2 equal linear factors, then the parabola will touch the x-axis. 2 equal linear factors meaning only 1 0 it has. 2 equal zeros, 1 0 or 2 equal zeros. So that means the parabola will touch the x-axis at exactly 1 point. It may open upwards or downwards depending on the value of a. But since it has only 1 0 or 2 equal zeros, it can be put either ways. It has only 1 0 or 2 equal zeros. So it will touch, the parabola will touch the x-axis at exactly 1 point. And as I told you, children, the vertex can be the lowest point of the parabola or the highest point of the parabola. The vertex can be the highest point or the lowest point of the parabola. So you can see here, you can also see a line here, children. Can you see a line? The parabola is symmetrical about its axis. The parabola, just remember all this for MCQs. The parabola is symmetrical about its axis. Can you see the parabola here? Can you see another line here? This is not the y-axis. This is not the y-axis. But can we see a line here, children? Can we see a line perpendicular here to the x-axis?
Yes.
Yeah, that's called the axis of the parabola. And we say that the parabola is symmetrical about its axis. The parabola is symmetrical about its axis. This line through the vertex of the parabola, this line through the vertex of the parabola is called the axis of the parabola or axis of symmetry. Axis of the parabola or axis of symmetry. Because the parabola is symmetrical about its axis. And the axis of symmetry will pass through the vertex. It's a line through the vertex. And I told you that the vertex can be the lowest point. So in this graph, the vertex is the lowest point of the parabola. But here in this graph, the vertex is the highest point of the parabola. The parabola here in figure 3, the parabola opens upwards because the value of a is greater than 0. And in figure 4, the parabola opens downwards because the value of a is less than 0. The parabola intersects the x-axis at only 1 point because it has only 1 0 or 2 equal zeros. Here also in figure 4, the parabola intersects the x-axis at exactly 1 point because the polynomial has only 1 0 or 2 equal zeros. That's why it just touches the x-axis at 1 point. So when the parabola simply touches the x-axis, don't worry where else it, don't worry about where it meets the y-axis. We are not concerned about that. We are only concerned about where the parabola touches or intersects the x-axis. So here the parabola, it touches the x-axis at exactly 1 point, which indicates that the quadratic polynomial has only 1 0 or 2 equal zeros or 2 equal linear factors. And in this case, the vertex of the parabola is given by the coordinates minus b by 2a, comma 0. Minus b by 2a, comma 0. Fine, children? Class, use the emoji, raise your hand. Okay, all of us are there, but we're just not speaking out. All right. All right, children. See the next one, where it has no zeros. In figure 6, children, observe figure 6 carefully, okay? Don't get confused. Sorry. Yeah. Please observe figure 5 and figure 6 and read case 3. All right. So case 3 is when the polynomial is not factorizable. I'm sharing my screen. Yes. So when the quadratic polynomial is not factorizable, that is, it has no zeros. It has no zeros. When the quadratic polynomial is not factorizable, you're not able to break it down into linear factors. It has no zeros. It has no zeros. Then how does the parabola behave? How does the graph behave, children? In the case of a quadratic polynomial with no factors, does it intersect the x-axis at two distinct points?
No, ma'am.
Does it touch the x-axis at one point?
No, ma'am.
No, it's either completely above the x-axis or completely below the x-axis. It's either completely above or below the x-axis. In figure 6, it could have been misleading because it's very small, you know. You might have thought it touches the x-axis, children, but no, there is a gap. There is a slight gap. I don't know why I'm not able to zoom in. I've been trying to do that, but yeah, okay. There is slight gap between the vertex of the parabola in figure 6. If you remember, in figure 6, there is a slight gap between the vertex of the parabola and the x-axis. It's not touching. It is not touching. So when the quadratic polynomial has no zeros, that is when it cannot be broken down further into linear factors, it has no zeros. It is a polynomial in all the cases, whether it has zeros, whether it has no zeros, 1 0 or 2 zeros, it's always a parabola. For a quadratic polynomial, the graph is always a parabola which opens upwards or downwards, depending on the value of a. If it has 2 zeros, the parabola intersects the x-axis. The parabola, if it has 2 zeros, the parabola intersects the x-axis at 2 distinct points. It may open upwards or downwards, but it will intersect the x-axis at 2 distinct points. If it has only 1 0, then it will only touch the x-axis at 1 point. It may open upwards or downwards, but it will touch the x-axis at only 1 point because it has only 1 0. No zeros, it will not touch the, it will not intersect, not touch the x-axis. It will be completely above. The parabola will be completely above or below the x-axis. It will not touch. It will not touch. It will not meet the x-axis anywhere. It will be completely above or below the x-axis. It's a parabola. Still, it's a parabola. It's just that it doesn't touch the x-axis, intersect the x-axis. It's above or below the x-axis. And how do we count on the zeros? We count on the zeros only with the the intersection of the parabola with the x-axis. If it does not intersect the x-axis or doesn't touch the x-axis, no zeros. All right, children. Which of the following expressions is not a polynomial? Are we all trying it? Which of the following expressions is not a polynomial?
Option B.
B, is it?
Option B, ma'am.
Option B. It would be nice if all of us participate. Why? Bala Harish, are you there? Please share your thoughts, children. It's revision.
I'm there, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, why don't we unmute and share our thoughts? Srinivasan participates, Thirunesh, yes, Manasa, Priya, Reshmi, Anish, Shabari is active these days. Sudarshan, where are you? Muthuvel, Shivani.
I'm
Be there and be loved. All of us. We must be there and be loved. L-O-U-D, loved. Now, Bala Harish, do you agree with the second option? Which is the correct option? Which of the following is not a polynomial?
Option B, ma'am.
Why?
Because the polynomial do not have negative form, ma'am, but it is having a negative form.
Where? Which term has a negative? In which term the variable has a negative power?
I mean, the second term, 5x minus 2x2, ma'am.
Correct, but where is the power negative? In which term the power of x is negative? 5x cube minus 3x square minus root x plus 2. Everywhere it's positive only, no? There's no negative power. Who can tell me in simple words what should be the power of x like? The power of x should be
positive.
the power of x should be
Whole number.
very good. Who's that? Srinivasana?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it should be a whole number. See, that's the simple term we use. Non-negative integral power, which means whole number. The power of the variable should be a non-negative integral power. The variable must have a non-negative integral power, but sometimes we'll forget what it means. We'll have to, break it down one by one, non-negative, integral, and then power. Simple, whole numbers. The power of the variable involved must be a whole number in every term. So what is the power of in the term root x? What's the power of x? In the term root x, what's the power of x? Root x is the radical form. How do you put it in the exponential form? This is 9th standard. This is not 10th standard. This is 9th standard. Don't be happy with yourself if you did not know the answer to this question. Don't be happy with yourself.
X power 1 by 2.
X to the power 1 by 2. In root x, when you write root x in the exponential form, it is x to the power 1 by 2. The power is 1 by 2, which is not a whole number. See, it can be 2 root 5. 2 root 5. It's not about the variable. Root 5 is not a variable there. Root 5 is a constant. 2 root 5, constant. Ignore that. We are only concerned about the power of the variable involved. The power of the variable involved in every term. So if you look, it can be 2 root 5, it can be root 2. They're all constants. Now when you take up the second excuse me. So when you take up the second expression or the second polynomial, 5x cubed. Okay, let me not say polynomial now. Let me say expression, the second expression. X cubed, the power of x is 3. In the next term, the power of x is 2. In the next term, the power of x is 1 by 2, which is not a whole number. So the second expression is not a polynomial. It's simply an algebraic expression, but not a polynomial. See now the last expression, in the last expression, root 5x cubed. The variable in the variable there, how many terms the last expression has, children? How many terms the last expression has? Nobody is supporting me. Nobody wants to answer my question. How many terms does the last expression? Oh, when I say last expression, okay, not none of these. The fourth expression.
Three terms.
Three terms.
Three.
So what is the power of x in the first term?
3.
The second term, what's the power of x?
1.
1. So we are not concerned about the coefficients. The coefficients are √5 and 3/5. That we are not concerned. Power of the variable must be a whole number. So only here the power of the third term here. The third term is x, √x, and the power of x is 1/2, which is not a whole number. And hence the second expression is not a polynomial. Yes, quickly.
3, ma'am.
Wrong.
Sorry, ma'am. 4.
4, ma'am.
4. The highest power.
No real zeros, ma'am.
Which of the following is not true? Yeah. For a minute, I
No
got
real
scared.
zero, ma'am.
A quadratic polynomial may have
No
three.
real zeros, ma'am.
Which of the following is not true, meaning which of the following is false?
3 real zeros.
See, which of the following is not true, meaning which of the following statement is false. So you should read it like this. Let me help you. You should read it like this. So you must identify the false statement. Which of the following is false? A quadratic polynomial may have no real zeros. You should read like that. A quadratic polynomial may have no real zeros. Ask yourself if it is true or false. Next, a quadratic polynomial may have 2 equal real zeros. Ask yourself if that's true or false. A quadratic polynomial may have 2 distinct real zeros. A quadratic polynomial may have 3 real zeros. And then none of these.
A quadratic polynomial may have 3 real zeros.
It's a false statement. So let's do it one by one. That's right, Thirunesh. A quadratic polynomial may have no real zeros. That's true. Ask yourself if it's true or false. A quadratic polynomial may have no real zeros. Yeah, it may not have real zeros. It may not have real zeros. Now, a simple example, we'll take a quadratic polynomial which does not have a real zero. For example, x square plus 9 is equal to 0. X square plus 9. You must be sitting with a book and a writing instrument. Whether you have a pen, pencil, crayon, whatever you have with you, write down x square plus 9 is equal to 0. So x square is equal to what? Yes, be quick to answer that. X square should be equal to? When I say quick, it's very slow. No, what do? X square plus 9 is equal to 0. X square is equal to?
Plus or minus 3? Minus 9.
No, you didn't get my question right. That's why I've opened the PowerPoint. 1 minute. See, children, we are talking about an example. X square plus 9 is equal to 0. X square is equal to minus 9. X is equal to square root of minus 9. Does Is there any real value which can satisfy this condition? X is equal to square root of -9. It's not a real, so here x is not a real value. It's imaginary. Because we know that there is no real, that the square root of a negative number does not exist. Does not exist meaning it's not real, it's imaginary. X squared plus 9 is equal to 0 is a quadratic equation. Now x squared plus 9 is a quadratic polynomial. That's not imaginary. X squared plus 9, x squared plus 9 is a quadratic polynomial. Yes, it is a quadratic polynomial because x squared is equal to 0 is a quadratic equation. But this quadratic polynomial has no real zeros. X squared plus 9, this quadratic polynomial, x squared plus 9 has no real zeros. Why? Because there is no, see, there is no value that can satisfy this quadratic equation x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. There is no value of x that can satisfy this equation. You give any value for x, the equation will not be satisfied. There is no value of x that can satisfy this equation x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. You give 1, minus 1, 0, 3, minus 3. 3 will give you 18, minus 3 also will give you 18. Root 9, whatever is the value of x, the equation will not be satisfied. Which means this quadratic polynomial x squared plus 9 has no real zeros, imaginary zeros. A quadratic polynomial may have no real zeros. Yes, it can have imaginary zeros. A quadratic polynomial can have imaginary zeros. True. A quadratic polynomial may have two equal zeros. Okay, real, fine. Two equal zeros. Real only. If it has zeros, that means it has to be real. It has two. Two, it has meaning real only. Two equal real zeros. Two equal real zeros. Yeah, it can have at most two. We know that. True. Two distinct real zeros. Yeah, it can have two distinct real zeros. True. Three real zeros. False. The quadratic polynomial cannot have three real zeros. This is false. I think these you can do, children. Finding the zeros, you just have to, yeah, the zeros. I'm sure you know to do the zeros. You just have to, you can do them, right, children? Okay, find the zeros for this. The zeros of the polynomial 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 are. Do this. What are the zeros?
One by two, comma 1 by 2, man.
1 by 2, comma 1 by 2. Correct. So to find the zeros, you just have to equate it to 0. 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then now you can split the middle term. Whatever. Split the middle term and find the two zeros. Yeah. If minus 3 is one of the zeros, then the value of k is yes, children, if minus 3 is one of the zeros, how will you do this? Just tell me the method. How do you do this? In place of x, use the value minus 3. Because it's given that minus 3 is one of the zeros. So that means it will satisfy the equation. Equate it to 0. Equate this one to 0. The polynomial to 0. And in place of x, use minus 3. Because minus 3 is a 0. That means it will satisfy the equation. So in place of x, use minus 3. Equate the polynomial to 0. And find the value of k. Equate the polynomial to 0 and in place of x use minus 3. They should finish term 1 exam by now. Really prolonged. So we have lost interest actually. We've been studying these portions for a long time. By now we should have finished. We have so less time for term 2 portions. We'll start the portions for term 2, children.
Ma'am, 2.
The value is 2, is it? Yeah, the value of k is 2. Thank you. Very good. I said equate this to 0, equal to 0, and then in place of x use minus 3. On solving, you must get k is equal to 2. What constant should be added to the polynomial? So let k be the constant. Let the constant k be added. So then what will be the polynomial? X squared plus 7x plus 5 plus k is equal to 0. On equating it to 0, you will get is equal to 0. X square plus 7x plus 5 plus k is equal to 0. So that is, we are assuming let k be added. Okay. Now what's given? So that minus 2 is a 0 of the resulting polynomial. So now in this equation, in place of x, use minus 2 because it's given that minus 2 will be a 0 of the resulting polynomial. So in place of x, use minus 2, solve and find the value of k. And that's the answer. That is the constant to be added.
Minus 5, ma'am.
Minus 5, is it? Please check your calculation. It should be 5. Please check. Maybe you're right. Please check again. Minus 10 plus 5 is minus 5. Have you written as 5? 4 minus 14 is minus 10. Maybe you've got 5 plus k is equal to 0. Tirunesh. Is it 5 or minus 5? Yes, Anish, what's the answer? Class, lower your hand.
Yes, ma'am, it is the same.
It's plus 5, right? Okay. I said class, lower your hand. Okay, it's plus 5. Yeah, plus 5 is the correct answer. If 5 by 2 is one of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial, just tell me how would we do this? In place of x, we should use 5 by 2. You should equate the polynomial to 0. And in place of x, you must use 5 by 2 and find the value of k. Yeah, answer this one, the product and the sum. What is the product given by? Product is equal to? Am I audible, children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The sum is given by
minus C by A, ma'am.
and the product
C by A.
C by A. Okay, so we know this. What are the values of A, B, and C?
Root 1 by 2.
A, what's the value of A?
2
2, ma'am.
B,
minus 2 root 2.
and C?
1.
1.
Okay, fine. Yeah, work this one. If alpha and 1 by alpha are the zeros of this polynomial, then the value of K is. Please do this. So we need to use alpha into 1 by alpha is equal to because the product is given. I'm sorry, because the zeros are reciprocals. We need to use this alpha into 1 by alpha. When we multiply alpha and 1 by alpha, we get 1. That is the product of the zeros, we are getting 1. Alpha and 1 by alpha are the zeros. Their product is 1. So that means C by A is 1. C by A is equal to 1. The product of the zeros, the two zeros are alpha and 1 by alpha. The two zeros are alpha and 1 by alpha. And when we find their product, it is 1. So the product of the two zeros is 1. That is C by A is 1. So what was the value of C? What is the value of C, children? So I can say it is minus of K minus 2. This is the value of C by A. The value of A is 6. The value of A is 6 is equal to 1. So we need to work this. So we get minus K is equal to 6. This is plus 2 on the other side, minus 2. So that this gives us the value of K is minus 4. Alpha 1 by alpha. So the product of the zeros. The product of the zeros is 1, which means C by A is 1. So substitute the values of C and A. And on solving, we get k is equal to -4. Yes, children, please try this. If alpha and beta are the zeros of the quadratic polynomial, find the polynomial x squared minus 5x minus 3, then the value of alpha by beta plus beta by alpha is equal to 31 by 3. Am I audible, children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So find the value of alpha by beta plus beta by alpha. The common denominator is alpha beta. So the numerator you get alpha square plus beta square. Work and tell me. Work, check the value of alpha by beta plus beta by alpha. How do you find the value of alpha square plus beta square? Most of my questions are not answered today.
Alpha plus beta the whole square minus 2 alpha beta.
Very good. Thank you, Thirunesh. You've been the only one person other than Srinivasan. Srinivasan also is tired these days. He's also like, only I'm answering. And Shakti used to be active. He's also, I don't know if he's in the class also today. So few of us, very few of us make it interesting. Thank you, Thirunesh. Yes, so you said alpha square plus beta square is equal to alpha plus beta the whole square minus 2 alpha beta. You're right. And what's the value of the expression alpha by beta plus beta by alpha? Please work. So today on WhatsApp, I'm just going to check. If you people want me to start the portions for term 2, I'll schedule the exams. I'll prepare papers like this and I'll upload on the portal. So you can take it whenever you want. Because the discussion is not really, happening like a dialogue. It's a monologue. I've been saying something from my end. There's hardly any participation from your end. So probably, I guess you guys are tired with the portions, which should not be so. So maybe I'll schedule the exams and you can take it at your convenience. Please answer if we can start with term 2 portions. Please, I'll text the same on WhatsApp at the end of the class. Please share your opinion if you want revision or you want me to start the portions for term 2. Discuss with your parents. If you all feel it's just MCQs, there's nothing much to prepare and it's not subjective, there's no lengthy answer. And if you feel you can really manage the MCQs, whatever, please discuss with your parents and give me your opinion on WhatsApp. So whatever is a majority, I'll go with that. Yeah, now for today's class, we have to continue with this.
Ma'am, assertion is false, but reason is true, ma'am.
Okay, Tirunesh, what is the value then of alpha by beta plus beta by alpha?
31 by minus 3.
Yeah, 31 by minus 3, correct. So which means it's minus 31 by 3. It's not simply 31 by 3, it is minus 31 by 3. So the assertion is false, but the reason is true. You're right. So which is the correct option? Option C, assertion. No, not C.
D, ma'am.
D, assertion is false, while the reason is true. Yeah. If the zeros of the polynomial are equal in magnitude, but opposite in sign, then the value of k is minus 1 by 2. The zeros are equal in magnitude and opposite in sign. So what should we do? See, the thing is, we have two rules, We have two rules. Sum of the zeros is minus b by a. Product of the zeros is c by a. So here will you use the sum of the zeros rule or product of the zeros rule?
Sum of zeros.
Sum of the zeros. Because it's given that the zeros are equal in magnitude but opposite in sign. So if one zero is alpha, the other one is beta, which is minus alpha. They're equal in magnitude. So 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7 equal in magnitude. Opposite in sign. So if one zero is plus 7, the other one is minus 7. Because they're equal in magnitude. So 7, 7. Opposite in sign. So plus 7, minus 7. Or minus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 5. So in this case, you will have to go with the sum rule. The sum of the zeros is equal to minus b by a. The sum of the zeros. Let one zero be alpha, the other zeros minus alpha. So the sum of the zeros, alpha plus minus alpha, the sum of the zeros is 0. That means minus b by a. Minus b by a is 0. Minus b by, see, they're equal in magnitude, but opposite in sign, plus alpha minus alpha. Now, when you find the sum of the two zeros, the sum of these two zeros, I'm not subtracting. Plus alpha minus alpha 0. Okay, the sum of the zeros is 0, which means minus b by a, which represents the sum of the zeros. Okay, you can write like this: sum is equal to minus b by a. Sum is equal to minus b by a. What is the sum here? When you find the sum of the zeros, minus alpha plus alpha, 0 is equal to minus b by a. That's what I've written, minus b by a. Now what is b? What's the value of b, children? What's the value of b?
2k plus 1.
2k plus 1. The value of b is 2k plus 1 over a minus b by a. So minus, what's the value of a?
3, ma'am.
3. Is equal to 0. So cross multiply this minus, it's minus b, so you know that it should be applied to all this here. So when you cross multiply, you get minus 2k plus 1 is equal to 0, plus 1 is equal to 0. Oh, sorry, minus 2k minus 1. Minus 2k minus 1 is equal to 0. So what's the value of k? The value of k is equal to 1 by minus 1 by 2. The value of k is equal to minus 1 by 2. Solve it. Minus 1 by 2. K is equal to minus 1 by 2. And what's given here? Yeah, this is correct. Minus 1 by 2. So here we use the sum rule. That is, the sum of the zeros is equal to minus b by a. And below, the sum of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial is minus b by a. So to solve the above situation, that is given a quadratic polynomial with zeros opposite in sign but equal in magnitude, we use the rule that alpha plus beta is equal to minus b by a. And to find the value of k. To find the value of k, we said let the zeros be alpha and minus alpha. The sum of the zeros is 0. That is minus b by a 0. And that's what is given here. The sum of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial is minus b by a. So both of them are true, and the reason is the explanation of the assertion statement.
An assertion is true, but the reason is false.
Assertion true. One zero is the reciprocal of the other. So Tirunesh, sum rule or product rule, Tirunesh?
Product rule.
Yeah, the product of the zeros is given by? What is the product given
C
by? C by A. And what's the value of C by A?
1.
1. Yeah, the value of C by A is 1. It's given that 1 0 is a reciprocal of the other. 1 is a reciprocal of the other. If 1 is alpha, the other one is minus alpha. These are the zeros. These are the zeros. If 1 is alpha, the other one is 1 by alpha. The zeros are reciprocals of one another. When the zeros are reciprocals, their product will be, you can see here alpha and alpha gets cancelled, their product will be 1. Product of the zeros is equal to 1 0 is alpha, the other one is 1 by alpha because they're reciprocals. And their product, this is the product of the zeros. So you can see product is nothing but 1. The product is 1. But we know that the product is given by C by A. We know that the product is given by C by A. So you must substitute the values of C and A and find the value of K. So
assertion is true, reason is false.
yeah, so the product of the zeros is equal to, that is C by A is equal to 1. What's the value of C? What's the value
Minus
of C?
of A minus 3.
Minus of K minus 3 by A. What's the value of A?
5.
5.
Is equal to 1. C by A is equal to 1. When you work that, you will find the value of K. And looks like that's correct. The product of the zeros is given by minus B by A. Is it correct?
No, ma'am.
No, it's given by C by A. The product is given by C by A. So the assertion is true while the reason is false. Assertion is true because you all said the value of K is minus 2. Assertion is true, but the reason is false. The product of the zeros is given by C by A. Yes, please try this.
Assertion false, reason true.
Assertion is false. What is the polynomial? X squared minus 10x plus 2 is given. 2. Yeah, but what is the polynomial?
Ma'am, I used the sum of zeros and product of zeros.
Okay. You use the sum of the zeros and product of the zeros. All right. It didn't work, is it? What is the sum of the zeros by the zeros here?
10, ma'am.
10, but it is given to be minus
10,
b by a,
product
which is
of
minus.
zeros.
Okay. So the sum of the zeros, 5 plus 3 root 3 plus 5 minus 3 root 3. When you find the sum of the zeros, what is the sum? 10. And what is minus b by a? 10. So that's fine. The product of the zeros is 25 minus 9 3 are 27. The product of the zeros is minus 2. But here when you find C by A, we plus get 2 by 1, which is only 2. So it's not possible. That is, when you add the zeros, it should be equal to minus B by A. And when you multiply the zeros, it should be equal to C by A. Sum of the zeros is working, but then the product of the zeros is 25 minus 27, which is minus 2. But here C by A gives us 2 by 1, which is just 2. So the assertion is false. And the reason, if alpha and beta are the zeros of a quadratic polynomial, f of x, then f of x is equal to x squared minus of alpha plus beta, x plus alpha beta. That's true. So assertion is true. Oh, sorry. Assertion is false, but the reason is true, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. The assertion is the polynomial whose graph is shown below has 4 zeros. The assertion statement is the polynomial whose graph is shown below has 4 zeros. The reason, the number of zeros of a polynomial, is the number of points where the graph of p of x intersects or touches the x-axis. That's the reason.
Option A, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Option A.
Okay.
Option A, ma'am.
All right. So we can see that the graph, it touches the x-axis here 1, here 2. Not this one, children. Sometimes we get confused. It intersects here. Yeah, it intersects here, but it is with the y-axis, not the x-axis. Don't count this point. This point is where the graph intersects with the y-axis. We are concerned, or we are interested only in the points where the graph touches or intersects the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, this one, 3 and 4. So this graph, this is not a parabola. This is just a curve. This is not a parabola. A parabola is only in the case of a quadratic polynomial. Okay, so here it has the graph here intersects the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4 points. That's correct. Assertion is true. And the reason given is also true. So as you all said, or as some of you said, option A. How will you check if the given polynomial has zeros? Use what we learned in quadratic equations. How will you check that the given polynomial has zeros? Find the value of b square minus 4ac. Find the value of b square minus 4ac. Alfie, find the value of b square minus 4ac. And then go on to split the middle term. First, find the value of b square minus 4ac. Depending on that value, then you can decide if you have to split the middle term and find the zeros. What is b square minus 4ac?
Minus 12, ma'am.
It's negative. That means the given quadratic polynomial has no real zeros. But it's given it has 2 zeros. So you don't have to find the zeros. We'll first check if it has zeros in the first place. The polynomial has 2 zeros. The polynomial x square minus 6x plus 12 has 2 zeros. First, does it have zeros? So we'll use b square minus 4ac, the discriminant. b square minus 4ac, as Priya said, is minus 12. I don't know. I'm just going with Priya. It's negative. That was Priya, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So she says minus 12. D, discriminant is minus 12. It's negative. It's negative. That means the given quadratic polynomial has no zeros. No zeros meaning no real zeros, but it's given 2 zeros. So the assertion is false. The reason a quadratic polynomial can have at most 2 zeros, the reason is true. So assertion is false, but the reason is true. Correct?
Yes,
Because the
ma'am.
polynomial has no zeros. Yeah. Assertion is false, but the reason is true.
Ma'am, A is a non-zero real number and B and C are any real numbers.
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm just trying to, just a second. Yeah, I think I'm in the right question. I was just trying to check if I was in the right question. Yes. All right. Yes, in the standard form of a quadratic polynomial, ax square plus bx plus c, a, b, and c are, yes, Priya, come again.
A is a non-zero real number and B and C are any real numbers, ma'am.
All right, correct. A should not be 0. So A should be a non-zero real number. A should not be 0, but B and C can be any real numbers. Correct. The parabola represented by the quadratic polynomial ax square plus bx plus c opens upwards if up.
A is greater than 0.
Yeah, a is greater than 0.
Up in P.
Up meaning more, so greater than 0. The graph of x squared plus 1. Choose the correct option. I just gave you an example, children. I gave you an example and explained something. You don't have to actually make the graph. Without the graph of meaning, you don't have to make the graph. Just by looking at the polynomial, you can conclude.
Neither touches nor intersects exact.
How do you conclude that? How do you come to that conclusion, Thirunesh?
Ma'am, there are no
X is equal to root of -1.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Because first thing is there is, when you equate this to 0, x squared plus 1 is equal to 0. No value of x will satisfy the equation. X squared plus 1 is equal to 0. X squared is equal to -1. X is equal to square root of -1. X squared plus 1 is equal to 0. X squared is equal to -1. X is equal to square root of -1. Square root of a negative number is not defined. There's no real value. It's imaginary. So it has no real zeros. The polynomial x squared plus 1 has no real zeros. X is equal to square root of -1. It's not a real number. It has no real zeros. So if it has no zeros, then it should not touch the x-axis. It should not intersect the x-axis. If the parabola touches or intersects with the x-axis, that means if it intersects the x-axis at two distinct points, it has two zeros. If it touches the x-axis at one point, it has 1 0. The quadratic polynomial has 1 0. Now x squared plus 1 has no zeros, no real zeros. Because we have the condition x is equal to square root of -1. The square root of a negative number is not defined. It's not a real value, it's imaginary. Which means x squared plus 1 has no real zeros. That means the parabola should neither touch the x-axis nor intersect the x-axis. Yeah, children, if alpha and 1 by alpha are the zeros of the quadratic polynomial, then the value of k is yes, 2 more subdivisions and we'll wind up. We have 5 in all. 1 more after this and we'll wind up the session.
K is 1 by 4.
K is equal to 1 by
4.
So is it the sum rule or the product rule?
Product rule.
Correct. So the zeros alpha and 1 by alpha, their product is 1. That means C by A is equal to 1. C by A is equal to 1. Alpha, and what is alpha into 1 by alpha? The product of the zeros. It is 1. And how do you find the product of the zeros? C by A. C by A is equal to 1. On working that, K is equal to 1 by 4. Yeah, last one for today. If the sum of the zeros is minus p and the product of the zeros is minus 1 by p, then the quadratic polynomials, not polynomials, the quadratic polynomial is. There's a mistake there. I don't think it cannot be R, children. Then the quadratic polynomial is
Option C.
sum is minus p and the product is minus 1 by p. So how do you frame the quadratic polynomial, children? What is the rule to frame the polynomial?
X squared minus alpha plus beta, x plus alpha beta.
Correct. X squared minus alpha plus beta of x plus the alpha beta. So x squared minus alpha plus beta minus p minus 1 by p of x plus alpha beta plus 1, because minus p into minus 1 by p. So that's plus 1. So which is the option?
Option C, ma'am.
Option C. All of you agree with that?
Option D, ma'am.
No, I actually I took alpha as minus p and beta as minus 1 by p. I just made a meaning I didn't do it correctly. That's what I was telling about minus 1. So this is the sum is given straight away. So x squared minus sum of the zeros into x plus product of zeros. Yes, now I'm just doing it. Yeah, now tell me. No, earlier I had worked it incorrectly, children. Sorry. So I was a little confused that my option was not found in the options given. Yeah. Yeah, somebody said 4, somebody says 3, somebody says C, somebody says D.
Option C is correct, ma'am.
C,
Option C is correct, ma'am.
C, yeah?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see when I go with that. So children, it's the sum of the zeros is given straight away. The sum of the zeros is minus p. That is alpha plus beta is minus p. And the product of the zeros, alpha beta. Alpha beta is minus 1 by p. X squared minus alpha plus beta of x plus alpha beta. Alpha plus beta and alpha beta are given straight away. Simply substitute. All right, children. Class, use the emoji. Raise your hand. Very good. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. If you have any doubts, please stay back, else you may leave the call. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night, children. Thank you.